Hi. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share a little bit about my patches, how I got started designing patches, and the process by which I go through when I design. So it all started out with this endurance event that I was training for, wow, maybe about 6 years ago. And instead of having a medal or a trophy when you completed this type of event, they would give you this patch. And this patch was meant to be worn on a backpack that has Velcro on the front. And as I completed events, anytime that something happened during the event that folks wanted to commemorate or remember the event by, they would come over and say, "Hey Jeff, you should design a patch about this," or something to that effect. And so one of the first patches that I created was to commemorate one of the first events that we completed here in New York City. It was called a Go Ruck Light, and it happened actually a little close to this date, March 16th, way back in 2013. And at the very practical level, it was the purpose behind the patches was to kind of meet that need, right? To bring some levity among the group as they were completing these events, because they're very hard events that can range anywhere from 4 hours to 48 hours on your feet carrying weight with very little sleep, no sleep at all actually, very little food. And as I got through designing patches, what I would do is very simple, just kind of sketch out a design either by hand or on the computer using an application like Photoshop or Illustrator. And then I would choose what colors I wanted this to be in. And so like what shape I wanted it or what have you. And then I would tell the production house to say, all right, here are the colors that I want, here's how many I want, and then it's usually about 2 to 3 weeks for them to get that to me. But then there was this other need that I wanted to meet, aside from, hey, people like morale patches. And that need was what I saw within these events and these groups of people that I trained and I competed with. And then there was that need for joy and happiness that lasts far longer than the event itself. And so as people would say, "Hey Jeff, you should create a patch about this," I started thinking about trying to meet that need of joy and where that joy comes for me. And so I started to design patches around those things and seeing if I could meet special needs throughout my community, and in particular, even like your needs as my students. And so one need came up one year from a former student who was going through a tough time. And so I designed a patch to help raise some funds for his family, and we were able to meet some needs there. I've also designed patches to help meet a very spiritual need that people have in terms of that joy that's missing in their life. And so I talk a lot about this bracelet that I wear to kind of represent the path of knowing Jesus as God and following him. And so there's a patch that represents that for me that I make available to people. And along with that, I also designed a card to kind of illustrate that story of like where I came from in terms of training for this event, being like shared this funny story that happened in the event, like put that on a patch, and then really the greatest story of happiness for me, it's all on the back of this card that I actually insert with every patch order. It's got my ugly face on the front. They used to call me the patch whisperer at these events because they would whisper the idea of creating a patch, and lo and behold, like within the next day or so, I'd have a design out for them to remember that event by. And so that's kind of, in a nutshell, where patches came from for me and my purpose now behind it. Thank you again for the opportunity. And if you guys have any questions at all about the design process, how long it takes for me to come up with an idea from start to finish, feel free to ask me. Have a great rest of your day.